Welcome everyone to Couch Potato Diary, coming to you from the Clearwater Cleaning Solutions broadcast studio. They are your one-stop commercial and residential cleaning company based out of Calgary with a fantastic team ready to make your life simpler and easier by fulfilling all of your cleaning needs. Check them out online, clearwatercleaningsolutions.com. We previewed the Eastern Conference in the NHL yesterday. Today, it is the Western Conference and Stanley Cup playoff preview. So let's get right into it. It is first the Colorado Avalanche. Their total sits at 110. They lose Nazem Kadri. They gain the experience of being Stanley Cup champions after a phenomenal year last year. They signed Nikushin to a gigantic contract, a full year of Lehkonen with McKinnon and Rantanen. This is still an incredible hockey team. And the thing that really strikes you is on the blue line. Taves and Makar, I think maybe the best defensive pairing in the NHL. You have Girard and Manson, and then Bowen Byram is on your third pairing after his breakout performance in the Stanley Cup playoffs a year ago. This team is excellent. I still think they are the best team in the NHL. Thusly, I am going over on Colorado at 110. Chicago might be the worst, and they might continue to get worse with Taves and Kane. Who knows what their situation is going to be at the end of the season and around trade deadline time. This is clearly a flawed team, specifically on the blue line and between the pipes. They're not very good. Athanasiou, Domi, and Johnson is their second line. That'd be a very good fourth line on a Stanley Cup contender team. So we're going to go under on Chicago's 68.5. That is a low total. I do not care. The St. Louis Blues, they come in with a total at 94.5. I like a lot of pieces on this St. Louis team. A lot of it's going to come down as my cat walks by. A lot of it's going to come down to the goaltending position. Is Binnington back to what he was a couple of years ago when this team hoisted the Stanley Cup? Because again, there's still quite a bit here. You know, Buchnevich, Thomas and Tarasenko, Saad, O'Reilly and Kyrou, Barbashev, Shen, and Neighbors or whoever. This team can roll three lines deep. I don't love what the blue line has kind of turned into, and I don't necessarily trust the goaltending. I'm going to go a touch under 94.5 on the Blues. Arizona, they have Chychrun, who could be fun. This is just a bad team. 65.5 is a really low total. They might clear it. I'm going to go under 65.5 on Arizona. Winnipeg at 87.5. I don't know what this team is. They either... I hate that they stood pat this offseason. I think that they either needed to blow it up and start over or add a couple of pieces. Because this top six with Connor Scheifele-Wheeler, Perfetti, Dubois, and Ehlers, that's one of the top sixes in the National Hockey League. Like, it's really good. And then it just kind of falls. But I like a lot on their blue line. Like, I like Morrissey more than a lot. I like Pionk, kind of, and I like Schmidt, kind of. And then you have one of the best goalies in the world in Connor Hellebuck, as your starter, so that there are pieces to like on Winnipeg. It hasn't clicked. I'm going to say last year was just a one-off. I'm going to go over 87.5 on the Winnipeg Jets. The Nashville Predators, we don't have a win total for them because unbeknownst to me, the season started. So they've already played, so we will just go with division odds. They're plus 750 to win the Central Division. They came back last year in a way that I didn't think they would. I'm going to go not to win the division. For the Preds, we don't have a total on them. Whatever that total might have been, I probably would have gone under. I don't trust a whole lot of what Nashville is selling this year. The Dallas Stars gave the Calgary Flames everything they could handle in the postseason, taking the Flames to a Game 7. In is Marchment. I love that addition to this top six. I think this team is deep at forward. I think they have a pretty good blue line, and they got a real one in Ottinger. I like Dallas. I'm going to go over 94.5 for the Stars. Minnesota at 101 points. Boy, I like Kaprizov a lot. The rest of it is just kind of there for me. I'll be perfectly honest with you. I worry about Fleury potentially falling off with no Talbot there, like he is back to being the guy. The rest of the forward group is kind of The rest of the blue line is kind of I think this is a year of a step back for Minnesota. I'm going to go under on the Wild, as much as it pains me because I think they're one of the more fun teams in the league. We go into the Pacific Division. The Vancouver Canucks, some crazy how, are at 92.5 points. I don't like a whole lot on this roster. I think to get to 92.5, you kind of need to get best case scenario, out of Pettersson, Horvat, Besser, Podkolzin, Mikheyev, Garland, Pearson. Like, I just you need best case scenario out of a lot of guys. They don't really have a strong backup behind Thatcher Demko, and I think you kind of need that with this team because Demko, they're going to be riding him a lot this year. Like, he is a true number one on this team. So I'm going to go under 92.5 on the Canucks. Anaheim, they're at 80.5. I love the over on this. I think this is a team I would have liked to seen a bit more urgency from the front office in improving this team this year, but I think they have some exciting players up front. I think they have a strong blue line, and I think they have, again, one of the best goalies in the league. I think Anaheim is a team that takes that step forward this year. I like them over. The Calgary Flames at 103 points. Obviously an offseason of change. Gone. Gaudreau, Tkachuk, Goodbranson. In. Huberdeau. Kadri, Rooney, for some reason, Uyghur. I like this team. I love how they are built. I think that top line of Huberdeau, Lindholm, and Toffoli is going to be a gold mine. I love Mangiapane, Kadri, and Coleman on a second line, or however they divvy it up. I would like to see a little bit more of the youth infused on this team. I don't love that it's another year of Lewis getting some run on the fourth line. I don't think Rooney is much of an improvement over what a guy like a Pelche or a Phillips could provide you. I think on the blue line, this team is solid. They lose a bit of the depth with Valimaki going to Arizona. 103 points is very, very, very much. It's a lot. The one thing I'm really focused on with the Flames this year, obviously it's how everything gels, but also, will they kind of dial back the use of Markstrom? My guess is no, but I do think he ran out of gas in the postseason last year. I do think this team goes over. I like what the Flames did this offseason. Vegas at 96.5. They had to move money out with Pacioretty and Dadonov. They bring in Phil Kessel. They lose Robin Lehner for a very long time. And this team, like, there's still a lot of pieces that I really like on Vegas. I think the mystique is kind of gone for Vegas. I'm going to go under 96.5 for them. The Kings took a giant step forward last year. They're hoping that Byfield can take a real step forward, and then this team would be really set down the middle with Kopitar, Deneau, and Byfield. I kind of think last year was, I don't want to say a fluke, but they maybe overachieved a touch. I don't know if I'm trusting Quick to have that kind of bounce back again. I don't know. I think a lot of their forwards have kind of peaked at where they're at, and I think the blue line maybe takes a bit of a step back. So I'm going to go under on the Kings at 95.5. Seattle did not enter the league the same way Vegas did. It kind of exited with a whimper last year. Their total is at 83.5. I like Grubauer on this team. I think that's definitely interesting. The rest of it is just kind of there, again, for me. I think this is just going to be kind of a blah team. I will go under 83.5. Edmonton at 103.5 points. This team is stacked. I love what they did. I am not a huge fan of Evander Kane human being, but from a hockey standpoint, I think he complements McDavid and Yamamoto really well. The obvious huge addition is getting Jack Campbell. It really solidifies this team. I'm going to go over with Edmonton here in the Eastern, or in the Pacific Division. I think they win this division. San Jose is the team that's played Nashville. We would have gone under whatever they had. That this is a bad hockey team that is, I think, going to continue to get worse. So those are your division previews and conference previews, and after a bit of a we will get to our playoff preview in the NHL.
Some of the music on Couch Potato Diary is provided by Wasted Talent. Find their producer on Instagram at Tommy Fresh Music.
All right, I have put the numbers together, crunched them, if you will, and put together our brackets for the postseason. So to recap, I'm not going to go position by position, I guess, but our playoff teams. In the Eastern Conference, I have Toronto winning the Atlantic Division. Tampa Bay and Florida are the 1-2 there. In the Metro, Carolina, I have them winning the division. So the Rangers, not the 1-2 matchup for Tampa Bay, Florida, the 2-3 matchup in the Metro is the Rangers against the Devils. My wildcard teams, Washington and Pittsburgh. So when I said yesterday, I think the Bruins take a step back, but not in a missed playoff sort of a way, I guess I do mean in a missed playoffs sort of a way. Because I don't have them in here. So my first round playoff matchups in the East are Toronto against Washington, Tampa Bay against Florida, Carolina, Pittsburgh, and the Rangers and the Devils. I have the Leafs beating Washington, Tampa Bay beating Florida, Carolina getting by Pittsburgh, and the Rangers getting by the Devils. In the semifinals, I have Toronto beating Tampa Bay this time, and Carolina beating the Rangers, and I have Carolina beating Toronto in the Eastern Conference Final. They go to the Stanley Cup Final. Who do they face? Well, in the Pacific Division, I have the Oilers finishing first. The 2-3 matchup in the Pacific is Calgary taking on Edmonton. In the Central, I have Colorado as the 1 seed. Dallas and Winnipeg is the 2-3 matchup. Your wildcard teams are St. Louis and Minnesota, so no playoffs for Vegas this year, according to me. Your playoff matchups, Edmonton beats St. Louis, Calgary beats Anaheim, Colorado beats Minnesota, and Dallas beats Winnipeg. So in the semifinals, it is Edmonton beating Calgary again, and Colorado beating Dallas. So your Western Conference Final is Colorado beating Edmonton one more time in a rematch of last year's conference final. I think a bit more competitive this time around, but I think Colorado is too good because I think they are your Stanley Cup champions for a second year in a row. Those are the predictions. We will all make fun of how wrong I was at a later date. That's going to do it for the show. Thank you all so much for tuning in. Thank you to Clearwater Cleaning Solutions, your one-stop commercial and residential cleaning company based out of Calgary with a fantastic team ready to make your life simpler and easier by fulfilling all of your cleaning needs. Check them out online, clearwatercleaningsolutions.com. We will be back Wednesday with NFL Power Rankings. Enjoy the start of the NFL season, everybody, and I'll talk to y'all later. I'm out.